With the release of Deathbound approaching on August 8th, I thought I would take some time and lay out the lore and story as it has been presented so far. For those that don't know, Deathbound is a new party-based Souls-like. Party-based meaning you can hot swap between four different characters at a time, or essences, as they're known in the game, mid-combo or mid-dodge. Each essence has different weapons as well as abilities and techniques. My sources for this video are various news posts that have been put up by the Deathbound team on Steam, as well as some Twitter posts by the narrative director, Tiagos Baptista, so big thanks to them. In contrast to most Souls-likes, the narrative in Deathbound is more mature, moving away from good versus evil tropes and being willing to ask the big questions. It's a story about mortality, individuality, identity, religious fanaticism, and grief. Rather than being a male centric power fantasy, it aligns more closely with a tragedy in the Greek theater tradition. Another distinguishing feature of Deathbound's narrative is its historical accuracy. Unlike most medieval fantasy stories, the story is grounded in real world medieval societies, including their economies and social dynamics. For instance, the role of the feudal mode of production is more prominent. While in typical D&D settings, religion is often relegated to clerics and paladins in actual medieval societies, and therefore in Deathbound, religion plays a major role influencing every aspect of society, from private life to global politics. And that is an overarching theme. In the game, faith and science collide. Deathbound is set in Zeminial, a post-apocalyptic medieval world risen from the ashes of the technological first civilization. Zeminial is divided into four nations, each based on a real-world medieval culture. I read comments of some people wondering why there are medieval themes mixed with futuristic environments, so this explains that, and yet again ties into faith and science colliding. Now, I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, so please forgive my ignorance. The four nations are the Kingdom of Krulazan, Western Medieval Europe, the Commonwealth of Smertolia, Eastern Medieval Europe, the Klingazar, Medieval Central Asia, and the Sabakan Sultanate, which is medieval West Africa. Eons ago, Goddess Life had deceived her sister, Goddess Death, to steal her powers and create the first men, a race of beings unable to die. Alive for thousands of years, they erected a powerful and advanced civilization with magic-like technology and continent-spanning cities. But Goddess Death would not settle for being deceived and began to slowly seduce these immortal people, overwhelmed by an existence that would never come to an end. Eventually, they gave up their immortality and their society collapsed overnight. The game takes place in the year of Our Lady 522, after the first to die. Humanity rose again from the ashes of the old world as a medieval society of kings, feudal lords, knights, and holy people. Looming above all is the Church of Death, the de facto power in Zeminial. The Church of Death hunts down everyone that doesn't fit into its worldviews: heretics, worshippers of Goddess Life, political subversives, wielders of magic, etc. Fleeing persecution and eager to fight back, these oppressed peoples of Zeminial founded the Cult of Life. The Cult of Life sought refuge in the ruins of the forbidden city of Akratya, a metropolis in the times of the first men. The city has been abandoned for centuries now, as the church considers anything related to the ancients to be sinful and heretical. The Cult of Life is an uneasy alliance of many organizations fighting the church and the lords of the realms. Amongst these organizations, called tendencies, are the Children of Life, the Eighth of Zerim movement, and the Essence Mancers. The Essence Mancers are a group of life-worshipping mages that want to bring immortality back to the human race at any cost. They mix magic and long lost technology of the first civilization in order to perform experiments to unlock the secret of eternal life. So we've actually seen two characters that are Essence Mancers so far in both the pre-alpha and the subsequent demos. When word of the Essence Mancer's horrific experiments reached the church, it organized the Fifth Crusade to invade Akratya and end the entire cult of life once and for all. The mages rushed to perform the last experiment before the church arrived, and that's when we, the player character, were born. We, the player character, are the prisoner of 1,000 faces, a creature trapped between life and death with the power to absorb the essences of fallen warriors. Only the Essence Mancers can undo your plight, but you have to find them before the armies of the Church of Death get to them. In terms of how the story is presented further in the game, one of the devs stated on their Discord server, we have a series of mechanics related to the narrative that connects narrative and gameplay. For example, when you find a new character to absorb, you enter a reverie, a mysterious place where you can visit the memories of the character, where you learn not only about his part, but also about the lore of the world, the factions, religions, and political struggles of the world. These memories are small in-game scenes that doesn't interrupt the gameplay. Now, we've seen these scenes in the demos so far, and they kind of remind me of restoring blood codes from Code Vein. You would find the fragments out in the world for that blood code, and then you'd restore the memory of it with that one girl, which I can't remember her name right now off the top of my head. But anyway, let's talk about the Church of Death and the Cult of Life and which characters are aligned with these groups. So first we have the Church of Death. The dominant faith in Zemenial is made of fanatics who persecute anyone who does not follow their creed. Catania is the main symbol of the church. It leads the way through the bloody streets of Akratya and proudly marks the attires of those devoted to death. The chain symbolizes the indisputable binding of her every soul. Now, the characters that are aligned with the Church of Death are Throne, the zealous noble who renounced their birthright to devote their life to his faith, the living weapon of goddess Death. This is the guy with the sword and the shield. Olivia was forced to live a life of secrets. She became a master of not just weaving spells, but influence. This is the spellcaster lady that we saw in the pre-alpha demo, kind of with the big brain head, kind of. Agaros is the closed fist of the Archduke, brutish man whose only existence is that of violence. This is the two-handed hammer guy. The next guy is the capoeira guy. I think his name is pronounced Mumdile. A broken hero embittered by his wasted potential. A capoeira prodigy, this warrior monk roams Zemenial in search of salvation. The Cult of Life is an uneasy alliance of many organizations. The cult tries to resist the oppression of the Church of Death. Copila is the symbol of the goddess of life, an allusion to Cease Woman's vulva, which is considered the origin of the world. It is widely donned by Essence Mancers, worshippers of the goddess of life, in their quest to bring immortality back to humankind at all costs. So the characters aligned with the Cult of Life are Anna, who betrayed her people. She now calls the shadows her home. A blade in the dark, a killer with a conscience. We started the pre-alpha as that lady. She has a knife and a crossbow. Then we have Hodai, an innocent soul born with the power of death, betrayed by his chieftain father. He seeks purpose. And lastly, we have Julia, a revolutionary who lost everything. She seeks to end oppression by the tip of her spear. As we absorb these essences throughout the game, we've seen in the demos that these characters can create synergies and conflicts, and now we can see why because of the group that they're aligned with, along with their beliefs and motives. Synergies create different minimal buffs for the party, and conflicts can offer larger buffs, but also a debuff, which the player needs to decide which ones are beneficial to them. So this is basically all we know so far, but it lays out a decent framework for what's to come in the full game. With the Souls-like genre becoming increasingly saturated, I feel like now more than ever, it's important for new games to have fresh mechanics, environments, and combat elements to really stand out among the rest. From what I've seen of Deathbound so far, I feel the team is really on track for doing just that. Deathbound releases on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC on August 8th, so keep it locked to the channel for the Let's Play series and potentially a 100% walkthrough series if the game warrants it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments your thoughts and if you're going to be playing the game. So hopefully you're all doing well. Stay tuned. More coming at you. Take care.